I had a break from doing the live soul readings, and it's coming back now. It looks like as conversations with Michael. And so I'm just gonna ask him what messages he has for us. So tune in to Michael. What would you like to share with us today? So just this immense overflowing love, just a big, huge love for us. Like almost like he stands in awe of us. Like he recognizes the challenges that we face and the difficulties we're confronted with. And he he knows how hard things are at times. And he feels like concern that we might feel like it's too much, like we're feeling overwhelmed by the bombardment of challenges, one thing after another, after another, after another. And that the sense of instability that we have is because we haven't mastered the skills that we need to be able to rise to the challenges and to really ride that wave of surprises that come in life. And he's like, it's almost like we don't even have that the infrastructure to even be able to ride the wave of good things coming too. Like it doesn't matter if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like there's something in us that's like uh, sedentary is the word, that we just want a sameness, that we feel, oh, I have mastery over sameness. But that's not the nature of life. So the nature of life is not about sameness. The nature of life is about change. And that's the thing that we don't have mastery over, but we really need practice. We're being given the opportunity to practice that because that's the thing, um, that is the nature of life. And so that's the thing that we came to experience. We came to experience change. And he's saying that we have that infrastructure potential to be able to develop that resilience. And so he's going to give us some guidance today about how to develop resilience in changing times. And so he's not just talking about change as things that are like negative, but also things that we identify as positive, because we know that all change is a stressor. So whether you get married or someone you love dies, that's kind of like the same stressor to the body. And so we need to learn a better way of experiencing those things that will definitely happen, so that we can have more resilience. And so this is what he's saying we need to do. So the first thing that he's saying is first, be careful what you expose yourself to. So part of this is about knowing yourself and having an understanding of what your reserves are, what what you how much wiggle room there is in your stress system. And he's saying like everybody's pretty low on reserves right now, and that he just doesn't want us to give up. This is a time of accession or acceding. So this is a time of like giving in to circumstances. This is a time of giving in to circumstances. This is the way you win. This is the way that you build resilience, is when you give in to circumstances, when you don't try to rise, when you don't try to fight, when you don't create opposition, when you give yourself over to the world and the way it is, and your life and the way it is, and you and the way you are, and your body and the way it is, and your relationships and the way they are, and your experience and the way it is, when you give yourself over to that. And what he's saying is that we need like a penetrating gaze. Like we need to look deeply into whatever thing is coming our way that we identify as change or difficult or challenging or even a good surprise. We need to look deeply into that thing. This is the thing that will teach you why you came and what you are made of. Look deeply. Look deeply into the event or the challenge or the person, which is a mirror for looking deeply into yourself. It's like we can't see into ourselves clearly. And so the situation, the person, the relationship, the condition is providing a mirror for us through which we can see into ourselves deeply. And the reason that this is like a challenge is because we don't want to. We don't want to see into ourselves deeply. It's like we want to go through life somnolent, like we want to have our eyes closed. We want to feel like I've got this all figured out. I know right from wrong. I know that things were better in the good old days. I know I've got it all figured out. And so there has to be this sense of like humbleness and a sense of um, recognizing that we don't have mastery in order to have that deeply penetrating gaze into the thing that we are engaged with, not as an opponent but as a teacher and as an ally. So what Michael's saying is that, the way that we're conceptualizing things is very dualistic. It's self and others, it's ally and enemy. And so, really, part of this lesson is teaching us sameness, is teaching us that that thing that holds the mirror for us is no different than we are. We are reflected back in the mirror because we are actually the same as the thing that's holding the mirror. And this is part of coming into that place of humbleness, is to accept oneness. And it's such a hard lesson for us. It is such a hard lesson for us because it is what Michael's calling an unearthly lesson. This is a lesson that can only be taught on the earthly plane because it's the only place where we experience dualism or a perception of separation. So this lesson cannot be taught anywhere else because everywhere else has only a sense of oneness, completion, unity. And so there's something very special about being on earth, and because it gives us the opportunity to to learn oneness, to learn the lack of separation, because it is the place where we feel separation acutely. And Michael's just saying this is such an important lesson to learn because it is the lesson of peace, that once we can see through separation, through the guise, through the illusion of separation, then we experience peace. And so the mirror, the gazing deeply into the upsetting thing or the joyful upheaval in our life, gazing deeply into that teaches us all one. There is no two. And that is the lesson that humanity came to learn. And that is like that is the opportunity that we're presented in these times of conflict, where it seems that there is acute and sharp differences between groups of people. This is the best opportunity for us to hold up the mirror, to gaze deeply, and to see the self in the other, and to know there is no two, all one. And Michael's just saying this may seem like a lot. It may seem actually like too much. It may seem like, wow, how could I ever do that in these times? And he's saying this is the only way to heal. This is why you came. This is not only why you came to earth, but why you came to this moment in time, because this moment in time is very special for this lesson. And this is a lesson of ascendancy, where we get to kind of like up the ante and to up level. And Michael's just saying, don't give up. Like he's saying, I recognize it's tough, and don't give up. Persist. If it doesn't come easily to you, that's okay. That's just part of it. Persist. Persist. Keep coming back to it. It's okay to take a break. You'll be given a lot of breaks, but persist. And when the occasion arises again, come back to it. Gaze deeply into the mirror of the other situation that's being provided until you see the self clearly and you see there is no separation between you and the other, all one. That's all. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Michael.